what was because I know you were dear friends. You and Nancy were dear friends with George and his Nancy.
Yeah.
And y'all got married at George's house.
They got married in their house, and then it all started. 92 was the year we got married, which was the same year that Rockin' Chair was recorded, came out, and got to know them really well through that whole process. And they were really good about including the songwriters, and inviting them out to the video, inviting them out to the studio, inviting them out to the house to listen or whatever. And so we just kind of hit it off. I had known Nancy Jones prior to that a little bit, had met George a time or two, but really got to know them and developed a friendship during that time. We were talking about we were going to get married. They knew my Nancy, they'd met her. She was my girlfriend then. And I was telling Nancy Jones one day, I said, yeah, we're going to get married. We decided we're going to go ahead and get married. And she said, oh, when, where, and I started telling her, and we were living out, Mel Tillis had a farm in Ashland City. We lived out there on that farm, or was getting ready to live. I lived there. She was getting ready to move out there. Once we got married, we were going to get married out there at that farm, at the farm, at Tillis's farm. And Nancy's like, no, you got to get married at our house. And so we went over and did that.
Duh.
Like, yeah.
Get married at George Jones's house.
One of the funniest things, though, remember we were there for the wedding and everything, and we kept it real small, so it was just like my mom and dad and Nancy's dad and mom, and just real small. Couple of friends, that's it. And so we did the whole deal, and the parents go missing. My mom, dad, her mom, dad go missing. I don't remember where they're at. Well, they have wandered off back into George's closet, and they're like going through his suits, looking at his stuff. It's like they thought they were in a museum, man.
Well, yeah. Let's go look at George's clothes.
Yeah, I think one of them got a picture laying across their bed.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Oh, but George and Nancy were real sweet about it, and they said we're not going to be there, so y'all just can have the house or whatever. And they surprised us; they were there. And so we took off. We were going to Gatlinburg or something for our honeymoon. And George, and I had my guitar there because I sang to Nancy. And so they grabbed the guitar and got to sing a little bit. My mom and dad sing and all the time. And so that was pretty cool.
Now your daddy, I met your mom and dad down at your grand opening. And he's a barber by trade, right?
Yeah.
And you were a barber.
Yeah. He cut hair for 40 years. I cut hair for 10 years. And that was right when I got out of high school, I started doing it. He was always like, get a trade. I was wanting to do music,
Yeah.
He's like, get a trade, get a license to do something. And so I decided that'd be the thing to do. 7 months, I went to school, got my license to cut hair. It worked great, man. I cut hair for 5 years in Donovan.
Yeah.
And then I cut hair for 5 years in Nashville. And then I started doing a lot of the like videos and the TV shows on TNN and
coming out and doing the stars' hairs and stuff.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. Yeah, it was wild,
Hey, tell them the story about you went and did George's hair, right?
Oh man, yeah. So
That was a
Nancy's
good
like
one.
Nancy Jones, she gets me all hooked up to go cut George's hair. And so I go out there, go out to the house, and I got my little kit,
Now,
all the
now
stuff.
let me pause you. Is this before he had cut any of your songs?
No, this was after.
Okay.
This was after.
So you already had a relationship.
So I already had a relationship.
Okay.
But I got out there, or you know what, this might have been, I don't know. I just remember he was not in a real good mood that day.
Uh-huh.
So I want to say it might have been before, because I think if it had been after, I could have given him some grief about it. But I don't remember giving him any grief.
And he was always known for that very
Yeah.
kind of helmet looking
hairdo,
Yeah.
And so I go out there. He comes out of the bathroom, and they got this little dressing area. So he comes down the bathroom. He's just got out of the shower, and he's got a robe on, and he's got a towel over his shoulders, and his hair is just wet, just out of the shower and whatever. And so he's just a little standoffish, And so, hey George, how you doing? He's like, he comes over, and he sits down in this chair, and I start combing through it. You kind of start to section it off, and I'm talking to Nancy, and just, I'm just going to kind of do, because she's already told me, she's like, just do what you need to do with it, And so I pick up the shears. He said, now, what are those for? I said, well, George just going to kind of layer it a little bit, because it's like one length.
Yeah.
Basically one length.
Uh-huh.
It's like almost like a bow. It's like one length. And I said, I'm just going to put some layers in it, kind of loosen it up just a little bit, make it, And he said, "Oh, see," and he just kind of starts throwing a fit. Everybody wants to cut. They want to cut my hair. It's like, oh, it's okay. Never mind. So I just styled it. So I took the blow dryer and just kept it real loose.
Did very
and whatever.
little to it.
Very little, and but it looked looser and kind of going back more instead of all down and whatever. And he said, what about, it's like that little thing in the front. He had a name for it, Flip or something. Where's my, I don't know. He had a little name for that little thing in the front. And I was like, well, we can do that. So I take the brush and kind of pop that in there. So I got him looking a little, a little looser and just kind of whatever. He don't say too much. And so he's all right. And he goes back in the bathroom and Nancy's like, I'm sorry. I thought he was going to let you cut it. Whatever. It's like, it's all right. He comes back. He comes walking out. He's got it fixed exactly.
Like it's always been.
It's always been, man. Oh, he was a trip though. He would, he would call you. He'd say, you get a phone call. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm, whatever I was doing, writing a song or whatever. What are you doing? He said, I'm just out driving around. He said, I just need a little attention. He'd get out and drive around town and in Nashville.
Oh, wanted people to see him?
And they enjoyed people seeing him, he liked,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is very awesome, but he was like, it wasn't reclusive and he wasn't, so he loved to get out and talk to people. And I mean, he'd go Cracker Barrel, he'd go to, there was a big old catfish restaurant, Uncle Bud's. He liked Uncle Bud's and different, he liked to go out and eat and hang out and love people and recognize him, and he didn't mind it all.
That is so cool.